half natural Negro with Nigerian blood. My first shout out goes up to the creator above. The mama sign providing the shelter, loving the grub. The whole 612-651. Talking saying I landed on the planet around 14. How y'all doing? You going back to welcome back. Been a cool weekend. You know, we just been chilling. I would like to give a shout out to the homie Jerry Davis and the Wailea Golf Club Resort Club, Wailea Golf Club Resort or Golf Resort Club. It's in Hawaii. All right. So say what's up. Wearing some of the beautiful merchandise I've been sent. Wearing the button up. Probably wear this outside later. It's nice and warm outside. I can wear it now. You know, it's not nowhere near none of the chilly ass months that we usually have. But anyway, we're gonna talk about a little couple things today. Today's episode is called Brooks Was Here. Let's talk about the golf a little bit. I don't really follow golf. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna bullshit shit at all. I don't follow golf like that. However, when the homie's playing, I follow golf, and you know who the homie is. This is a Tiger biased syndication here. Let's just say what it is. So when he's doing something, I'm gonna talk about golf a little bit, even though I couldn't shoot around the golf to save my life. I couldn't do anything with it. Nothing. You know, even on TV, when it goes away from Tiger, I change the channel and I try to estimate when it's going to be back on Tiger, and I go back to the channel sometimes. That's always sometimes. Sometimes I'll sit and watch everybody else's golf footage too, but usually not. You know. Anyway, I've always been of the firm belief that Tiger would come back at some point and win a major. He finished second this weekend, and if he hadn't had a shitty Thursday, he would have won the whole shit. So, you know, I think he'll be 43 next year. I think even next year, the year after that, he'll win at least one more major, if not two, as long as he stays healthy. And he's been good, you know, as far as his health and you know, his somatic complaints and his physical ailments. So I don't see any reason why Tiger won't be winning another major before it's all said and done. You know, so shout out to Mr. Woods. Anyways, the big story, Brooks Koepka. First of all, I like you because your name is Brooks. I am a fan of Shawshank Redemption. Brooks Was Here. That's a great part of that movie. The fact that your name is Brooks and Koepka is just a cool ass name. You got my attention right there. Now, he's on a list he's on a list of what only 4 of the golfers have done by winning the U.S. Open and the PGA Tour in the same year. You know, so I guess it's Tiger, Jack Nicklaus, and 2 other cats I don't remember, but they're all in the Hall of Fame. So I think eventually Brooks Koepka is going to be in the Hall of Fame, and I'm like, that's tight. So I'm going to be paying more attention because I've never thought of golf as like a you know, sure, you have your personalities in golf for people who are rivals of each other and everything, but you never think, you know, they're never extremely riveting or compelling stories that you just want to pay attention to like that. So, but I think based on this last weekend, you're going to see a rivalry develop over, you know, throughout the end of Tiger's career and through the prime of this Brooks Koepka's career. I think you're going to see not like a heated rivalry, but I think you're going to see a rivalry develop between those two being at the top of the golf world. You know, so you're going to have Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth and those other guys. They're going to still be competing for titles as well. But I think you're going to see a healthy competition between Koepka and Tiger Woods throughout the rest of Tiger's career. I just got that feeling. You know, dude's already Hall of Famers is done. And an amazing thing about him accomplishing that is that a couple of years ago he said he would have, if he could redo things, he would have gone to Major League Baseball instead. So this dude is in, you know, probably like his 8th, 9th professional year of golf, and he's already matched what Hall of Famers done in golf, and that wouldn't have even been his first choice as far as what he would have done. That's pretty amazing. It's pretty unprecedented to me. Anyways, congratulations, Brooks Koepka, on winning the PGA Championship. Congratulations, new Tiger, on your second place. Old Tiger would have said it sucked and would not be happy at all, but you're not old Tiger anymore. I think new Tiger can win. I've always thought that. Always believed in it. But anyways, moving on to our next little segment of things. Let's talk about. There was just a little bit of football played last weekend. You know, a couple preseason games here and there. You know, it's just a preseason. It's just nothing huge to get excited about. You know, it's just a preseason. But there are a couple takeaways that were interesting. You know, let's talk about the Browns. I'm really enthusiastic. I'm not gonna say enthusiastic, but I'm interested to see what Cleveland's gonna do this year. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, they seem more interesting this year than most years since they got reintroduced in the league in 1999. So this is the most interesting year of the last 20 years in Cleveland Browns history for me. That's just me. You know, you got Tyrod Taylor, an established quarterback, and you have Baker Mayfield competing for the starting job. Now, people do tend to overreact to what they see as far as the preseason goes, but I'm gonna give a little bit on both sides here. Like Baker Mayfield did a great job on his game, on his time that he got on the field. He did a wonderful job. You know, well, I can't say wonderful, but you know, he threw 2 touchdowns, which is good. No interceptions, good. But the completion percentage, 11 out of 20, that can use a little work. You know, people want to focus just on the 2 touchdowns and the fact that he didn't have any interceptions and be like, well, he should be the starting quarterback week 1 and just go from there, ride or die with him from there. You know, but 11 out of 20 isn't that great of a percentage of passing the ball. You know, he was off in a couple of passes. You know, and as far as starting week 1, and you got to remember the majority of his work was against second and third string caliber players. You know, so some of those incompletions probably would have been picked off if he had been going against first stringers. And you know, just the action, the game speed of the first preseason game is nothing compared to the game speed of the opening of a regular season, where you get a lot of exotic looks on defense. Where a lot of the running lanes that he was running, you know, running to get first downs, they're not going to be quite as open, if open at all, in a regular, you know, in a regular season game against first team defensive players. You know, so I do think Baker will be ready to play regular season professional football at the beginning of the season. When the preseason's all done, I think Baker Mayfield will be ready, but I don't think he'll be more ready than Tyrod Taylor already is. So the Browns want to give their fans something to cheer about, which is winning games. I think Tyrod Taylor gives you the best chance to win games now. And interestingly enough, I think that the Browns situation at quarterback is pretty similar to the Ravens situation at quarterback. The Ravens, I think, are going to have Joe Flacco play until they are mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. I think the Browns are going to do something similar to that, whereas Tyrod will be the starter, but as long as they're in playoff contention, he's going to remain the starter. People they seem to think that because he was on a shitty team, the Buffalo Bills, for like 5 years, that he's a shitty quarterback. No, they didn't put anything around him at all. If he had like a Julio Jones, he had LaShawn McCoy. You know, the best receiver that Tyrod Taylor had his entire career in Buffalo was his running back. Sure, he had receivers, like people who played the position of receiver, like Robert Woods. He had you know, Zay Jones last year. Tight ends were, that's Charles Clay, the second best receiver. You know, but no receivers of note. Oh, Sammy Watkins, the guy who was always hurt, was also a receiver. Congratulations. So that's what he had to work with for like 4 or 5 years in Buffalo. He didn't have no Julio Jones, no Antonio Brown. He didn't have anybody Des Bryant's caliber 2014 Des Bryant. He didn't have nothing like that. He didn't have no AJ Greens. He didn't have no Odell Beckhams. He didn't have nothing like no Stephon Diggs's miracle catches, no Adam Thielens. He didn't have a Michael Crabtree caliber receiver his entire time in Buffalo. So You giving them right now Jarvis Landry, who's underrated because he had a crappy quarterback his entire tenure in Miami. You know, Ryan Tannehill's Jay Cutler's, yeah, Jay Cutler last year. So now you're giving them a talented receiver who was considered better than Odell in college when they were both on the same team. And you're giving them Josh Gordon, who could have arguably been the best receiver had he could stop getting high all the time. And you've given them David Njoku and Carlos Hyde, who's a competent receiver. So I'm of the mindset that Tyrod Taylor is going to have a career year, and the Browns are going to have something nice to trade. They're going to have a nice piece to trade. When they want Baker Mayfield to take over, because Baker Mayfield will take over, unless I guess Tyrod Taylor wins the Super Bowl or something like that. I think Baker Mayfield will be taking over at the end of the season if the Browns make the playoffs. Now, once the Browns are mathematically eliminated, which probably be like week 14 or something like that, week 15, if they do get mathematically eliminated, that's when I think Baker Mayfield will take over. Just like that. They're not going to do it when the season's on the line, I don't think. That would be pretty stupid. Yeah, that would be pretty foolish of them and, ridiculous. But Tyrod Taylor went 5 for 5 in his preseason debut, threw a touchdown. So to me, he's solidified. And he's against first team defensive unit. So as far as I'm concerned, that solidifies him as a starter at this point. Now let's say Tyrod had like a meltdown in the first game. He went like 1 for 6 and an interception, something like that. The conversation could be started that Baker Mayfield might be a better choice. But Tyrod this is my job. That's his play is saying this is my job, and I don't expect to see anything different. Until the things I said need to happen for there to be a change happen. If Tyrod gets hurt, or if the team starts losing and they're mathematically eliminated, something like that. Now, as far as outside of the ball that game, you had the Giants. You had Saquon Barkley, a nice 39-yard run, first run of the game. People say don't make too much of it. I'm going to tell you what, he's the truth. I'm not saying he's going to be Rookie of the Year. I'm not saying he's going to lead the league in rushing. I'm not saying he should be the number 1 overall fantasy pick or nothing like that. But I'm going to say he's going to have a long, healthy, good career. If he stays healthy, he's going to have a long, productive career. That dude came out the box. He waited. He exercised a ridiculous level of patience for a first run of your entire career in the NFL, and then gone, making people miss. So it's going to be a fun year to watch him. It's going to be a fun year for Giants fans. Eli's job is going to be easier. I should have drafted him yesterday in the heavyweights league. We got that out the way, the heavyweights league draft yesterday, where I brought these two beauties with me, to show off and wave it in their faces. And then it was great. It was a good day of celebration, and I made some decent picks. I had a couple of upset people with picks I made, a couple of, God damn, chunky, that's what you want to hear when you're making your picks in fantasy football. You want to hear everybody else grieve. You want to hear everybody else grieve loudly, and it makes you smile. But anyways, back to the preseason. The Giants, I think they're probably going to be the second best team in the NFC East. Based off the weapons they got and the little offensive lineup that they added. Nate Solder is going to make a big difference. But yeah, there wasn't too much else to look out for in our preseason game. For the rest of the preseason, what else did we see? We saw, like I said, it's only the first preseason game, but old boy from Kansas City looked a little shaky. He didn't look like he was the truth just yet, and I still don't think he's going to be the truth. As far as these rookie quarterbacks in general, I think people put too much stock on what they saw from the first preseason game. People talking about, I'll make this statement, and I think this is going to be proven to be correct. The only rookie quarterback who has a chance of starting the first game really right at this moment is Sam Darnold, and that's just because of the circumstances that exist with the Jets. Josh McCown is old as hell, and Teddy Bridgewater has no future with the Jets regardless. So Sam Darnold will show that he is competent so competent enough, to run the offense. So I think if he has another competent preseason game in the second week, where he makes a couple nice passes, maybe like one or two long completions, he'll be the week one starter, of the Jets. So I think he's the one who has the highest ceiling as far as starting the first week. This is because of the circumstances that the Jets face. Now let's say Sam Darnold comes under pressure, in the preseason a little bit, he goes a couple unnecessary picks, he forces the ball, and then the Jets decide, well, we're going to try to actually be competitive this season, so we're going to put Josh McCown in. It'll be the same thing as with the Ravens and with the Browns. If Josh McCown has them playing, competitively, and they're in the playoff hunt, and they're playing well, they'll leave him in there. But once they're out of the playoffs mathematically, I think they'll put Darnold in if he hasn't already started the season. I think he's starting. I personally think Sam Darnold is going to be starting week one. And I think Teddy's going to get traded. Teddy Bridgewater is going to get traded somewhere, probably somewhere like Miami, because Ryan Tannehill's garbage. And I don't know who his backup is, but if you're backing up Ryan Tannehill, you also must be garbage, or lower than garbage, whatever lower than garbage is, feces, excrement, I don't know. But so wherever they need a quarterback, that's where Teddy's going to go. Hey, they might even take him down to Arizona. That's another thing. Josh Rosen he looked all right. He looked like he's not ready to start the season right now. That's what Josh Rosen looked like. So if you have Sam Bradford, you have broke body, good bone Sam Bradford, and then Josh Rosen. Yeah, I don't know what to say here. You might want to think about bringing Teddy down there for a little workout. Larry Fitzgerald, he deserves better than what he's getting right now. Yeah, if I was him, I'd have retired already. I don't have time for this. You're not gonna bring in broke ass body Sam Bradford and this kid and tell me to go out and be happy like that. Man, please. You're 15, 16 for Larry Fitzgerald. He's going to the Hall of Fame already. He's been in the Hall of Fame probably the last 3-4 years as a receiver. But it's time for this shit. Larry needs to be mad. Larry should be mad about it. Upset. This is foolishness. You have to put up with this. That's how I feel about it. Let's talk about my homies. A little bit. I have held off. I've been pretty objective. I've been pretty objective so far. We're gonna talk about the Vikes a little bit. So the first team, and they went against. I still am of the mindset that I wanted to keep Case Keenum for less money and put all the rest of that money that we paid Kirk Cousins on our defense. But I will give you this. Kirk, you look good. You threaded that. It's not easy to thread a needle on a 1-yard pass to a receiver who's about 5'10", 5'11". Usually nowadays in NFL, you'll see passes that go on the 1-yard line are passes that go to a big ass tight end who's like 6'5", 6'6", with a huge wingspan radius. So you have a huge window. You have kind of like a bigger window to throw at, and a bigger target because they can usually out jump the coverage and their arms along it, so they have a bigger wingspan to catch the ball. It's not so easy to fit into a tight window over a receiver's shoulder and over a defender, where only the receiver can catch it and complete the pass. I was impressed, Kirk. I was impressed. However, I still stand, as I stated before, Super Bowl or nothing, Kirk. $84 million says Super Bowl or nothing. That means the team thinks that you are the piece to get us over the top. So, one preseason game. It was nice to see that, but I don't give a fuck. Keep it up. Latavius Murray looked good. Dalvin Cook, I'm happy that you're back. But I explained at the draft yesterday, I think the Vikings are going to employ about a 60-40, 55-45 running ratio as far as like straight running the ball with Dalvin Cook and Latavius Murray. Murray because of the injury. Would be cautious. They don't. It's not that I think that the Vikings think that Dalvin's going to get hurt again. They just don't want to take any chances. So since you got two of these thoroughbred, strong ass runners, good runners, They both got good speed. They both got good power and explosiveness, and they both got a decent amount of elusiveness. They're going to use Latavius Murray. He looked wonderful on Saturday on a couple of runs that he had. And so I'm excited about the side of the ball. Diggs' hands look good. You know, we didn't need to see too much. We know what Thielen's going to do. We know what Thielen's going to do. Thielen's going to be just fine. Offensive line looked surprisingly well, even with the injuries that we have to Easton and a couple other pieces in the offensive line that are still injured. The offensive line looked pretty solid. There's only one series, so we're not going to get too excited about that. I want to talk about the backup quarterback, Trevor Siemian. He looked sharp. He looked excited to play. You know, he looked excited to be somewhere other than Denver. And since we happened to be playing Denver, it looked like he enjoyed lighting them up. You know, on the other side of the ball, we didn't see much from Denver's first team because our defense shut them down. So our defense is looking nice on that side of the ball. Trey Waynes looked like he's put on a little weight finally. You know, it doesn't look like he's so skinny no more. So maybe he'll get paid next year. But I'm still mad that Anthony Barr has not been paid. That's why I wanted to keep Case Keenum so they could have paid Barr his money. You know, whatever. Case Keenum, he only played 1 or 2 series and he only completed 1 pass for 5 yards. Whatever. It's against our defense. You know, it's one preseason game. I don't think Case Keenum has much to worry about out there. He's gonna be just fine, you know. And so, you know, we'll see what happens. Shout out to we'll talk more about this young man next week. But one of the homies used to be a coach for this dude who's trying to make the cut for the Cleveland Browns on their defense. He's in the secondary. I think he wears number 43. I forget his name slips me right now, but we're gonna try to give that young man a shout out next week. And good luck on making the league. You know, that's tight. That's tight. And even to make it this far, even to be considered, that's a huge accomplishment. You know. If anything else happened of interest in the preseason, I also would like to say condolences to the family of Hugh Jackson, you know, and Hugh Jackson himself for being, you know, much love to you for being an incredibly, unbelievably strong man. You know, like he lost, for those who don't know, he announced on that show, Hard Knocks, that, you know, right before training camp started, he lost his brother, and within about 9 days after that, he lost his mother, you know, and so he still continued to be at training camp and work with his team. And so I think the Cleveland Browns are going to play inspired football for their coach this year because he's there for these. Obviously, he's been away from family. I think he's going to attend the ceremonies for his lost loved ones and everything. But you know, I don't want to get the details misconstrued and give out misinformation. But I think he's going to make those ceremonies. But the fact that he took time away from being with family when those things happen to be at training camp, that's going to go a long way with that team, I think. And I think they're going to play for that coach this year. And I just wanted to send a shout out to Hugh Jackson, and because that's tough, man. That's real tough, you know. And you got to be a strong individual to keep on going, and with that kind of show must go on mentality, you know. Once you know, he needs to run his program the way he's run it, and to still. You know, it just appears from the small excerpts you see of that show that he has a very personalized relationship with most, if not all, of the players he coaches. You know? So I just want to extend my condolences to his family. That's tough to go through. Yeah. So the Cleveland Browns, I think, are going to be an interesting story this year. No doubt. I think there's going to be something to talk about in Cleveland, even with LeBron being gone. Now, you know, we're going to move on to a little more of a, you know, less, I don't know if you're going to say lighter or whatever. You know, we're just going to move on to a different topic of something I don't really like. I've explained before. I don't know much about baseball a whole lot, you know, but we're going to talk about baseball a little bit. The rest of the night, because this girl face was like this. I can't just talk about basketball and football all the time. You know, I could, you know, but still, we got to be a little more well-rounded than that. So we're going to talk about baseball and how the Twins ain't doing nothing. The Twins are chilling with, you know, they're going to be chilling with, you know, whoever else is in Minnesota chilling when the playoffs start, because our division is pretty much sold up. That's a wrap, you know. And let's talk about how I was totally incorrect when I said the Yankees were going to come back and retake their division, because that is also a wrap. The Boston Red Sox are 50 games above 500. Now, to put that in perspective, from what I heard today, there are 7 other teams in the entire Major League who do not have 50 wins. Damn. So they are that much better than average, that the margin of better than average they are than average is better than the total wins that some teams have. What the hell is, what does that even, that's saying a mouthful, you know, and that's also what she said. But still, that's ridiculous. Come on, Boston. So they're going to surpass their record, their team record of all-time wins, probably. Well, all I'm going to say is this: if you are 50 games above 500, you better win the damn World Series. You have no excuse. No excuse. None. If the pitcher's that bomb, the hitting's that bomb, you got no excuse. You know, that's what I can say about that. You know, I mean, damn, 50 games. I don't even know why anybody's showing up. Why? You know, you can just send a team from the National League, you know, I think it's the Cubs or whatever, just, you know, the hottest teams in the National League, just tell them show up, and you can decide if you want to play or not, you know, but you really probably shouldn't show up today, you know, because that's how the Red Sox are just out here waxing folks like that. You know, 50 games above 500. Wow. So that's what I know about baseball. I think the season's, it's not really over, but still, I think the Red Sox pretty much got this thing wrapped up, as far as I'm concerned, you know. But I'm not a baseball expert. We'll see. But I'm calling it right now to win the World Series. And I still don't like the Big Papi one bit. Not one bit. Not one bit. Anyway, I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Peace!